اوكي دونك في هذا الفيديو ان شاء الله غادي نحاولوا نهضروا على دوت نت كور 6 ام في سي ريست اي بي اي. شنو غادي نحتاجو باش نخدموه وشنو غادي تتعلم الا حاولتي تصاوب واحد الريست اي بي اي بالدوت نت تكنولوجي. اوكي هير وي جو. سو في الانتروداكشن غادي نقول لكم شنو وات وي ويل امبلوي، شنو غادي نخدموا، شنو هما لي ميثود اللي غادي نخدموا بهم، شنو هما الاركتيكتور اللي نخدموا بهم. Everything that we are going to use in this API, okay, in this RESTful API. We are going to use MVC. For those who don't know what is MVC, it stands for Model Views Controller. It's an architecture, okay, which we will use to make our project looks very good and very handy when other users try to read our code. It's quite understanding and easy to implement it in another project, okay. Definitely we are not going to use the V, which stands for views, and views are kinda the user interfaces where we implement like forms, text, and etc. So in our API we are going to use just the models and the controllers, so we can handle our classes and implement it in the controller. We have the REST and we have the repository pattern, the dependency injection, entity framework, DTOs, which stand for data transfer object, and finally automapper. So all of these in order to provide 6 API endpoints that will allow you to create, read, update, and delete resources. So hopefully this is quite understanding. If not, just ask me in the comments below. I will try to answer you of each concept, or you can just go to Google and type it and you will find a lot of information. And even in YouTube you can find people giving information about certain concepts as I have told you before. Okay, so what are the prerequisites in order to create our RESTful API with .NET technology? The first thing, for the Linux users and the Mac users, you can definitely install Visual Studio Code, which is an IDE, okay, where you can where you can implement the C# language, where you can write down your application. That's so handful. For the Windows community, you can install the Visual Studio Community, which is amazing. It's a big project application where you can create a lot of applications as desktop applications, WCF, Xamarin applications for mobile applications, and the web application. Okay, next thing, we are going to need the .NET Core SDK version 6. Now for the VS community for Windows, it's already installed, included in the VS community, but for Linux community and Mac, you will need to install it manually, whether from the terminal, or you can install the SDK from the .NET website, and then you download it and then you install it. Okay, very good. Then we are going to use the Microsoft SQL Server Express, okay, to manage our databases, or just one database. And you are going to install an SGBD, which is the system which how am I gonna say it, which manage our data. That's it. Okay, so for the Windows community, you are just going to install SQL Server Express along with the SGBD, okay. And for Linux, I would suggest to use a VirtualBox, where you can install a Windows operating system, where you can upload or format it with a Windows operating system in order to install Microsoft, because Microsoft doesn't work in other operating system not as Windows. Finally, we have Postman. Postman is a project, or it's an application which helps us to test our APIs. Okay, that's good. Finally, what you will learn if you created an MVC RESTful API. That's so interesting. You are going to be able to understand the anatomy of an ASP.NET Core MVC API app, understand the program class, which is a class included in the ASP.NET Core project. You will find it, and how to use the MVC. The V is not included. Pattern to create a REST API. So, and finally, use Entity Framework Core to perform CRUD operations. Okay, so that's amazing. Have a good day.